Welcome to This Explainer. Look, if you're tuning in, you already know that being a professional DDD technician, that is, handling disinfection, disinsection, and deratization, is way more complex than most people realize. You're not just some exterminator showing up to spray a bunch of chemicals. Absolutely not. In reality, a true professional in this field is basically a clinical diagnostician. You rely heavily on process, on data, and on some incredibly strict regulations. Today, we're going to break down the entire life cycle of a professional pest control action plan. We'll be using the strict European standards, specifically RD 830/2010 and UNN 1663, to see exactly how this complex machine works from start to finish. Let's get into it.
Okay, let's dive into this with a quote that perfectly sets our foundation. A doctor does not prescribe without examining the patient. The DDT technician does not treat without inspecting. This core doctor-patient analogy, it's going to guide our entire journey today. Think about it. Just like in medicine, jumping straight to the treatment without actually understanding the underlying disease is dangerous, it's ineffective, and honestly, it's highly unprofessional. The action plan we're exploring today is essentially your patient's medical chart, their diagnosis, and their prescription all rolled into one. We'll be covering 1. The true DDD professional. 2. Phase 1, inspection and diagnosis. 3. Phase 2, action program. 4. Phase 3, safe execution. 5. Phase 4, continuous evaluation. And finally, 6. Documentation, your legal shield.
Section 1, the true DDD professional. There is a really stark contrast between these two approaches. On one side, we have reactive control. Honestly, this is the amateur mindset. You see a pest, you spray a product. Done. There's zero diagnosis of why the pests are there, there's no follow-up, and crucially, there is absolutely zero legal traceability. On the flip side, we have the professional DDD plan. This is entirely preventative. You are diagnosing the root cause way before you ever even touch a chemical, and every single step is backed by a fully documented legal guarantee. This plan is what takes a reactive, stressful chore and turns it into a highly regulated, highly valuable professional service.
So what does this clinical process actually look like? It breaks down into 4 critical phases: inspection, program, execution, and evaluation. It starts with the inspection, where you're gathering your clues. Then comes the program, where you design the strategy. Next is the execution, safely implementing that strategy. And finally, the evaluation, where you actually prove your strategy worked. This continuous life cycle guarantees you are never, ever just guessing.
Section 2. Phase 1, inspection and diagnosis. The inspection is basically a detective's checklist. You are hunting for physical evidence, and the source material actually recommends spending a minimum of 1 hour per 500 square meters of a facility during this phase. That's how thorough you need to be. You're looking at excrement. Did you know the size and shape alone can tell you if you're dealing with a brown rat or a mouse? You're looking for tiny tracks in the dust or physical damage like bitten cables and torn insulation. You're even using your nose. Roaches actually leave a really distinct acidic odor, while rodents leave behind a strong smell of ammonia. Literally, every detail matters here. But hey, all of these clues are totally meaningless if they aren't documented, right? That brings us to the field record, or the ficha de campo. Don't think of this as just a notepad. This is the foundational legal map of your diagnosis. You are charting access points, risk factors, and pest signs. And the kicker? It requires signatures from both the technician and the client. This one document ensures you never treat blindly, and it establishes the absolute baseline for everything that follows. Section 3, Phase 2, Action Program. And this brilliantly illustrates the Integrated Pest Management, or IPM, hierarchy. Notice how we absolutely do not jump straight to chemicals. Step 1 is preventative measures. We're talking sealing cracks, fixing hygiene issues. Step 2 utilizes non-biocide methods, like physical traps or UV lights. Step 3 steps up to low-risk biocides, like insecticidal soaps or CO2. It is only at Step 4, as an absolute final last resort, that we pull out the conventional biocides. This hierarchy strictly legally positions heavy chemicals at the very bottom of your toolbox, applying them only when it is strictly necessary. Here is a vital takeaway from the source material. The action program is not rigid. It's not set in stone. You might set up a schedule for traps and specific baits, sure, but if the pests adapt, you have to adapt too. A really high-quality program is a living document. Adjusting your plan based on new data isn't a sign that you're just winging it or improvising. It's hard proof of a high-quality service ensuring your treatments remain proportionate and, most importantly, effective. Section 4, Phase 3, Safe Execution. Every single execution is backed by a work order, and let me tell you, the mandatory fields are extensive. You need the exact date and time, your technician ID, product registration numbers, exact dosages, the specific zones treated, and the required security timeframes before people can safely re-enter. Do not look at this as just some annoying administrative chore. This piece of paper is literally your ultimate legal shield. If there is ever a sanitary audit, or heaven forbid, an accidental exposure claim, this properly signed document is the only thing that protects you and your company. Speaking of protection, proper signage during the service is non-negotiable. Putting up a treatment in progress sign isn't just a polite heads up. It is a visible act of responsibility and a strict legal obligation. Leaving a treated zone unmarked risks accidental poisoning and exposes you, the professional, to massive administrative fines. You have to secure that perimeter until that documented security timeframe officially expires. Section 5, Phase 4, Continuous Evaluation. Now, how do you actually prove your worth to the client? You use quantitative indicators. By counting the exact number of trap captures before the treatment and comparing it directly to the captures after the treatment, you provide undeniable, hard proof of efficacy. You aren't just looking at the client and saying, hey, trust me, they're gone. No way. You are showing them cold, hard data that the population has dropped way below the agreed-upon tolerance threshold. But what if the data goes the wrong way? There are very specific alarm indicators that signal it is time to pivot. If you see increased captures in 3 consecutive reviews, or signs that the pests are eating the bait but not dying, which indicates resistance, or maybe a completely new species suddenly appears, you must adjust. And remember what we said earlier, making these adjustments is solid evidence of active monitoring. It shows the client you are paying close attention, not that your initial plan was a failure. Section 6, Documentation, your legal shield. So the crucial point here is the number 5. Under the RD 830/2010 regulation, it is a strict, non-negotiable legal requirement to retain all of these client files and service records for a mandatory 5 years. Failing to maintain this archive is a massive administrative infraction. But honestly, well beyond the law, these files serve as your institution's memory. What exactly goes into that 5-year archive? It's the complete client file, the whole shebang. We're talking the initial diagnosis, the living action program, every single chronological work order, the periodic evaluation reports, and the final service certificates. This is essentially the comprehensive historical medical record of that facility. Without this file, every single time you visit that client, you are starting completely from scratch, just guessing at what happened last month. But with it, you arrive fully informed, you can spot long-term trends, and you provide genuine consulting value. We've covered the complete clinical cycle of the true DDD professional today, so I want to leave you with a provocative question to consider regarding your own practice. Is your action plan just paperwork you rush through to satisfy an inspector, or is it genuinely your best quality tool? The technicians who fully embrace these rigorous standards, from the very first hour of inspection all the way to the 5-year archive, they are the ones who elevate themselves from mere exterminators to truly irreplaceable consultants. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep leveraging your data.